Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Karmendriyani sanyamya,
ya aste manasa smaran,
ya aste manasa smaran,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
yastvindriyani manasa,
yastvindriyani manasa,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
karmendriyai karma yogam,
Karmendriyai karma yogam,
asakta savishishyate,
asakta savishishyate,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
sharirayatra pichate,
sharirayatra pichate,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
yajñarthat karmanonyatra,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
lokoyam karma bandhanaha,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
tadartham karma kaunteya,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
mukta sangha samachara,
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
Saha yajna praja srishtva
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
purovacha prajapatihi
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
anena prasavishyadvam
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
yeshavostvishta kamadhuk.
येषवो स्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last few sessions, we have been getting into this principle of Srishta. Srishta means creation, production. Now, before we got into this, and also seeing, trying to understand the Creator, so that you get transformed from an ordinary person to a person who is very powerful, who can manifest your goals, who can become a creator. So before we got into this, if you remember, we saw certain things about how important it is to remove complaints from our lives and become grateful, become humble. So these were taught. Now, those can be taken as preparatory qualities. We can say, if you practice humility, gratitude, it prepares you to absorb this aspect better. That is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that enhances the practices which you will do. For example, when you're trying to master this principle of Srishta, let's say you're constantly complaining in life. Now that will form a lot of mental blocks, emotional blocks, due to which you will not be able to practice all these principles. We've already seen a few dimensions. Today I'll be giving you a few more, and then we'll be going into more depth. But it is not about merely just getting to know them, and if you say, I have understood it, that is only an intellectual understanding. That is not enough. You need to actually practice, and you need to transform yourself completely. So what are the factors which enhance this transformation? That also side by side we are seeing. That is why I covered a couple of qualities like gratitude and humility. Similarly, what are the factors which can prevent you from practicing this? One such factor is the tendency to keep on complaining, the mind's tendency to keep complaining about various things in life. Now, that doesn't mean that is the only block. As we go along, many such things will also be given to you along with the main principle of yajna. So, those are also essential aspects of yajna only. Without them, you will not be able to successfully practice this principle. This is something which you need to keep in mind, because when we talk about creation, how to fulfill your desires and goals, how to materialize your goals, when we talk about that, the mind gets very much attracted. But there is a possibility that you may lose focus on the other things, which may not have a direct effect. That is, it may not be directly related to this, but it helps so much. For example, if you take gratitude, the more grateful you are, the more you're going to attract abundance into your life. This is a fact. This is something which you need to experiment in your life, and only then you'll be able to experience this. Similarly, be humble, because the more knowledge you gain, it's a big responsibility, as the powers of spirituality, that is, like, for example, the power to create, increases within you. It is very important that you are humble and you do not allow the ego to take over. Because once that happens, then slowly, it's a question of time, the powers will start diminishing. Then you will have to start from scratch again. So, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he will be giving you certain direct principles and then certain other principles which are also very powerful by themselves. It's not that they are side principles. Like, for example, if you take gratitude, you cannot say it is a side principle or a supportive principle. It is playing a role of it's playing a supportive role here. But by itself, that actually can give you tremendous wisdom. It's very, very deep. So he'll be covering many other principles related to the main principle which he is giving. Elsewhere, the main principle may be gratitude and several other principles related to it. So that's how you can gain this knowledge in a comprehensive way. One of the common problems which sadhaks face is that they understand a lot of things, but when it comes to practice, they are unable to do it. Why? One of the reasons is this: because they leave out the other principles which can really help, which can ensure that you are able to complete your practice and mastery over whatever it is that you are trying to master. So it is a comprehensive understanding and practice of this wisdom that can really help you, that can give you excellent results in spirituality. Some people, what they do is, they practice only jnana yoga. Now, your focus may be on jnana yoga, but karma yoga and bhakti yoga, are extremely useful in order to gain knowledge. But they leave out that. Then there is only a unidimensional development of the personality. It does not give them the desired results, that is the full transformation. Some others, they practice only bhakti yoga. Now jnanam, that is knowledge, and karma yoga, will be very supportive to bhakti, but they don't use that. Few people, they practice only karma yoga. Again, the jnanam, that is knowledge, and bhakti will be very supportive, but again they don't pay so much of attention to that. The result of that would be you will put in many years of practice, and yet the result which you get will not be in proportion to your practice. So remember this, in life, whenever you're doing something, along with that, always pay attention to those factors which can actually act as blocks, which can prevent you from executing your action in a smooth way, and also to those factors which can aid the process which you're trying to follow. You should not think in a unidimensional way. Sadhana should be done in a multidimensional way. That is a very powerful principle of the yogic approach. The ideal sadhana when it comes to spiritual development would be a little bit of the knowledge, a little bit of devotion, some karma yoga, the dhyana, the yoga sankirtan has been given. That will form a base that will ensure that you don't slip here and there, and it will also provide you with that necessary depth in whatever you're doing. And then a little bit of the hatha yoga, the yogic kriyas, so that there is a comprehensive development of your personality. So no doubt in this verse and in the next few verses, the main principle which he is talking about is yajna, but side by side all these other principles, the various qualities to be developed, that also will be given to you. For example, humility, gratitude. Because if you can just imagine a person who is acting in a spirit of yajna but has no gratitude, do you really think he'll be able to practice it after a while? The whole edifice which he is building will fall apart. So this is something as a sadhak you should make note of, because the various chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, how they are designed, is something which is very interesting. Each chapter focuses on a central theme. See, supposing, let's say there are 100 principles. Now in one chapter, let's say he covers 5 main principles, 5 principles. Now he will also be giving the remaining principles in a supportive way. And then if you go to the next chapter, he will take up another 5 principles, keep them as a main there in that chapter, but the rest, all other principles will be given in a supportive way. That's how the Bhagavad Gita has been designed, because one chapter is entitled Karma Yoga, another chapter is entitled Dhyana Yoga. Now another chapter, if you go to the 12th chapter, which is about Bhakti Yoga, then similarly there is Jnana Yoga. Like this, different names are there. Now when you actually use the yogic approach and go into the depth of Karma Yoga, what you get out from that is Jnanam, Bhakti, Karma, everything you can actually get. This is how a sadhak should approach. Similarly, when we come to Dhyana Yoga, the emphasis will be on meditation there. But so many other things also will be covered. The Karma Yoga will also be covered, Bhakti will also be covered, everything else. So, chapter after chapter, the same things are being reinforced into your system, into your deeper minds in different ways. The emphasis keeps shifting, but it is the same set of principles. Because if you just know these principles once, there is no guarantee that now that you have mastered it. It doesn't work that way. The repetition is the key. And this is a unique method which our great yogis and masters have adopted. That is, they repeat the same thing, but they don't make you feel that it is the same thing. Actually, if you really think about it, every Sunday, it is the same thing which is being repeated in different ways. But you would have never felt that. See, whether we talk of the principle of yajna or some other principle which was there before a few verses, there, if you go to the essence of it, they'll be one and the same. So, as the same principles are being repeated, the masters have given a variety in terms of laying emphasis on certain points. So when the mind gets that variety, it keeps the interest alive and it is able to do the sadhana on a consistent basis. If the person is very advanced, an advanced yogi does not require all this variety and all that. Actually, at the most advanced stage, just one mantra is given and the yogi goes on repeating it, first to start with the breath, and then with the prana, then with the mind, then at the further deeper levels. And then when he starts doing it from the soul level, that is when he gets into that state of enlightenment. But how many people will be able to do that kind of intense deep sadhana? The masters understand that. So that is why they have brought in this ingenious method of bringing in a variety in repetition. Like supposing you want to break an object. Now you stand this side and you take a hammer, let's say it's a very hard object, and you hit it. And then what you are asked to do is, you are asked to go to the opposite side and hold the hammer and hit it. Now your view is different, the feel of it is different, but actually it's a repetition only. It's the same thing, verse after verse, even within a verse, principle after principle. When we go, it looks like this is another principle, this is another verse, but actually it is all the repetition of the same set of principles which govern this universe, these divine principles called Sanatana Dharma. So this is something which you can absorb and use it effectively in your day-to-day activities also. Whenever you're going to repeat the same thing, you cannot move away from the main practice. You cannot move away from that activity, because then there will be no consistency. But when you find that the mind gets into a kind of a boredom, you can bring about a certain variety, keeping the principle same, so that you continue with whatever you're doing in a consistent way. This will ensure that you're very, very consistent in your pursuits till you reach your goal. Of course, as you keep doing your daily sadhana, what will happen is your capacity to entertain yourself by yourself will start increasing. Then you will never get into a state of boredom. So this is very useful in the initial stages, and even as you progress, you may practice the same principle in a subtle way. But as you start growing, as your consciousness starts expanding, as your mind comes under your control, that is, you become a master of your own mind, then all these things are not required. Straight to the point. You will have the capacity to focus and absorb fully. So one is to focus, the other is to absorb. Both these are required. So focusing itself takes a while. And then even if you focus, absorption is something which doesn't come so easily. But when they both combine, that is when you gain the true wisdom. So when we are studying these verses, when we are going into the depth, what should you do? Whenever so many aspects are being given, just in a relaxed way, keep on learning them, get inspired and try to practice them. That's all. The mind is given that variety in these sessions so that you don't stop your pursuit, your spiritual pursuit, that pursuit of inner transformation. So this is so important, because now we are looking at a yajna from one angle here. In the next verse, we will be looking at yajna from a different angle. Another aspect will be given, another dimension will be given. And then in the subsequent verse, another angle will be given. But actually, they are all not different principles. They are one and the same. So this looks as if you're gaining a lot of information. So many things are being learned, but actually you're learning only one thing in different ways. This is the key to the yogic approach. This is the key to your success in the spiritual pursuit. By doing different things, you cannot grow spiritually. But by doing one thing in different ways, you can grow spiritually. The title of every chapter gives you in a nutshell what is the theme of the chapter. For example, the title of this chapter is Karma Yoga. Now, if you go to the Upanishads, he just covers this entire chapter in one word. Do karma, he says. That's all. He doesn't even say do karma yoga. Very interesting. But when you expand it, you get all these principles. So the whole thing converges into one only. It looks as if they are different. And similarly, if you converge all the chapters, what does it become? It becomes the Bhagavad Gita. It converges into one. The various chapters are not dealing with different principles. It looks like that, but it is not that. It is all just one principle. And what is that theme? That thou art. You are that infinite. Now, why I'm mentioning this is that some sadhaks, when they keep attending these sessions, after a while they feel burdened. They feel, oh, so much is there to practice. When am I going to practice all this? When am I going to gain the whole wisdom? There is nothing like that. We always say, no, even one thing is enough. If you get into it fully, you will gain the total wisdom. Because all these things are actually interrelated and they converge into one only. Keep that in mind and never ever lose your confidence when you are gaining this wisdom. It looks as if there is so much, but actually there is only one principle, main principle. I am that supreme self, that's all. But to digest that one principle is not so simple. That's why help is given in various ways. Otherwise, imagine, the 4 Vedas were compiled, the Puranas were written, so many texts, so many apparently different approaches. Why all that if the goal is just one? If the essence of this wisdom is only one simple principle, why all this? Because to digest that is not so easy. So one has to start from one's level and carefully keep growing. I'm mentioning this because a sadhak has asked this question that she says suddenly, she got a feeling that when am I going to master all this? It looks like this birth itself is not enough. So she says her spirits have come down a bit. That is because of a misunderstanding. Is this clear, especially to that sadhak who's feeling low by seeing the vastness of this wisdom? Rather, when you get into this principle which was just now explained to you, by seeing the vastness of this wisdom, you will get more inspired, because it's a greater opportunity for you to grow. But if you have a very narrow vision of this, then you will get depressed. You will feel it's very difficult. When am I going to do that? That itself is a tamasic quality. See, tamas manifests in various ways. And one of the ways in which tamas manifests is a kind of a disinterest or feeling down in confidence, losing that cheer. That is one way by which tamas can manifest. So you need to be very careful. When I am answering that particular sadhak, this is also a message to all the other sadhaks. So that if at all you face such a situation where your mind is feeling low, immediately you should inspire yourself. You should not allow that to keep growing. That is very important. So, what were we seeing with respect to Srishtva? Srishtva means fundamentally it means creation, something which is produced. And then we saw the various dimensions which are actually giving you the very process of creation or materialization. So first thing is ascertaining. If you want to achieve something in life, you should be very clear about what you want. Clarity is the key. A generalized goal will not help you. Even with respect to finance, if you say in a general way, I want to be rich, that is not specifically defined, because richness in terms of quantity can vary, the concept of rich. How much will you say is rich? That will vary according to each individual. To one person, a certain amount will be the concept of wealth, being wealthy. But for another person, that may not be enough. So you need to very clearly define whether it is your finance or whether it is your career or whether it is your relationships, and more so when it comes to spiritual development. You should be very, very clear about what it is that you want to achieve in terms of your personal growth. The highest goal is self-realization, but you need to relativize it also according to what level you are in, so that you can keep progressing. That is what is meaning by ascertaining. And then determination, being very, very determined about what you want. Most people are unsure. See, unless you are confident about yourself, how can you really apply yourself and get something? So, a person who is not determined will keep looking here, looking there. He will keep on getting distracted. He will get influenced by every person's view. And there are enough people to keep coming and feeding you with negative thoughts. So all that will get into your head, will get into your mind. And you will find that your progress becomes very limited. That is why determination is extremely important. And then what we saw was being connected or joined, an emotional connection to your goal. You should not write a goal just for the sake of it. Oh, I also have a goal. Some people know what they do is they wait for a particular day to write their goals. New Year's Day, this is a New Year resolution. From January 1st, I will do this, do this, do this. What it means is January 2nd, they'll stop doing it. Because there is no meaning in that. Just because in the calendar 1 year is over and a new next year has started, how have things changed within you? And if you really want to change, you will not look for a new year or a particular auspicious time. See, for other things and all you leave. When it comes to the core issues, when it comes to development, that is where you will see all this. So which is the right time to do this right now? To make a start. You may give any reason in order to postpone, but who is going to be the loser? So just because it's a New Year's Day, you write some goals, but unless and until there is an emotional connect with that, you really want to do it, that will not work. Many people fix goals and then they start and then their efforts fizzle out. Why? Because the emotional connect is not so strong. Your emotions are connected or joined. That word joined is there, no? What joining means is, today your emotions are connected to what you don't want. Now he is asking you to reverse that process. Start putting that effort to connect your emotions to what you want. For example, let us say you have a pain in some part of your body. Now, that pain is something which you don't want. This is only an example. You can apply it in any area. Now, what is it that you want? You want health. But if you observe your emotions, if you observe your mind, they will be fully connected or joined to the pain. You will constantly keep thinking about it. Many a times it has been observed that when the healing happens, after it has got resolved also, the mind tends to keep on checking whether has the pain really gone or not, because it doesn't get that faith. If you have a financial issue, let us say, some problem you're having. Now what is it that you don't want, that issue? But what is it that you want? You want, let's say, more wealth, whatever it is that you define. But now, throughout the day, you will find that your emotions, your mind is running towards that issue only, which actually you don't want. Your mind is constantly preoccupied. And the emotion also, your emotions also get united there. So thus you are connecting yourself all the time to various things which you don't want, the various problems and issues. As long as you are doing that, you cannot be a creator. So if you want to create something, now first check your own mind. Where is your mind connected? You will find that it will be connected with exactly the opposite of what you want. A small issue or a small problem, when it manifests in your life, your whole mind, emotions, and then that pulls your entire personality. Your whole personality is only preoccupied with that problem. This is the weakness of the mind. This is a tendency of the mind which has to be conquered. So, Srishta is the process by which you conquer this weakness of the mind, and you decide where you should get connected to. It all starts with the emotional connection, and then that pulls your entire personality towards that. And what is interesting is, see, whatever you are connected to, that creates an energy pattern within you. It creates a certain aura. Now that energy pattern attracts circumstances, it attracts various people to support your connection. If you are connected to something negative, then you will find that that will attract more negative circumstances into your life. That will attract more people who will support that negative train of thinking. They will also talk negative. Again, that's why I covered that complaint versus gratitude initially. So again, what will happen is, instead of changing the energy pattern from within, immediately what you will do is you will start complaining about the circumstances or the people. I want to do this only, but people are not allowing me. Circumstances are preventing me. The more you keep saying that, the more you will be a part of praja only. You cannot become a Prajapati. So, the application of this principle of Srishta is actually very deep. You will have to go deep into your emotions, into your thoughts, and change the very approach towards life. You will have to go to the source and change it from the source. So, this is the law of life. You create an energy pattern within you, and depending upon the nature of that energy pattern, you attract various incidents into your life. Whether positive or negative, it all depends upon what is that energy pattern. Our yogis say that the various diseases, the various issues, everything emanates from the energy pattern only. So this is a very powerful principle, the connection which he's talking about, which can change the energy pattern into a very positive thing. It can change the energy pattern and give it a direction so that it will start attracting those incidents, those circumstances, and those kinds of people who will help you to achieve what you want. In the coming verses later on, he'll be covering this in greater detail. He will say directly, you attract people according to your gunas only, according to your nature, he says. Means if you are receptive, for example, if you are receptive to gossip, you will attract more gossip mongers. If you are receptive to negative thinking, you will attract people who will keep talking negatively. If you are very receptive to achievement, you will attract people who will want to achieve and who are very positive and who want to progress. So, this is the method by which you determine what it is that you want to achieve, and then you focus all your energies on that. And when you find that your mind is running in the opposite direction, you reinforce your goal, you reinforce what you want, you keep on reinforcing till that energy flow changes. It doesn't happen overnight. When you want to achieve something, but you are fearing that that cannot happen, now your connection is with the fear that it cannot happen. That is what you don't want, no? Just observe yourself. You will learn the whole Bhagavad Gita. You will learn the whole wisdom of life. So, from the smallest of things to big things which you want to achieve, where is your mind? Where are your emotions connected to? Find that out first. See, many people, they send me mails, or even during the live programs, they have asked, "Oh, I have this issue, sir, can you please give healing?" Yes, the healing is constantly given, but you also have to play your part. If your energies are constantly getting connected to the opposite of what you want, the healing will work, but again you are creating the opposite. So, as a sadhak, you will have to put in that effort. You will have to find what are the various factors, that energy pattern, which is creating that issue. And through sadhana, you need to release them and get connected with what it is you want. Then you will find that this higher Shakti will flow with such great force and give you whatever it is that you want. This is the true process of healing. Healing is not a medical word. Like many people think healing means, like a doctor getting rid of the diseases. No, that is something separate. Here we are using the word healing to mean a complete overhauling of your personality. Healing of circumstances, healing of various situations, everything. Setting things right. And it all starts from your energy pattern. And your energy pattern is dependent on what you are connected to, where your emotions are connected. Are you putting more faith in what you don't want, or are you putting more faith in what you want? That is why the famous words by Henry Ford, it's so inspiring. Henry Ford, he said, whether you say I can or I can't, either way you're right, he said. If you say I can't, you will not be able to do it. That becomes a reality. If you say I can, then that will become a reality. This is the formula for success. So, being connected or joined, a very, very powerful dimension of Srishta. Last week I covered that, but this week I've given you more subtle points regarding those dimensions. And then we saw one more, which is abundance. Start thinking in terms of abundance. Go for the best. It doesn't matter whether it is in the world or whether it is in the spiritual sense. Actually, for a yogi, there is nothing like worldly and spiritual. Whatever level you are in, try to stretch out to the next level. Never get into a tamasic contentment. True sattvic contentment is different. In the name of contentment, don't become lazy and tamasic. When you go on wanting the best, and when you put on all your efforts to create that, a time would come where from deep, deep within you, it will strike you that whatever it is that I achieve in this world, it's never going to be the best. Then what is the best? It is that which is beyond this world, that infinite supreme reality or God. And that is the time where all your energies will start flowing towards God, will start flowing towards infinite. When you get to that state, no force can stop you from merging with the infinite and getting enlightened. A guru, a master, gives the highest empowerment to a student when he or she reaches that kind of single-pointedness. But in the world itself, if you're compromising, if you're tamasic, if you're not putting in that extra effort, how is it possible for you to choose the highest goal? It will all just be empty words. My purpose is self-realization. My purpose is I want to experience God. You don't say it in a full way. You don't feel it fully. You're not focused on that fully. So that is why abundance is another important facet of Srishta. Then I will give you two or three dimensions and that should be more than enough for you to start practicing. The mastery will come over a period of time only. Don't expect immediate results. You just practice it immediately, it will give you results. Not like that. Gradually only any principle can be mastered. So another dimension of Srishta. Srishta means something which is ornamented. What do we mean by ornamented? What is an ornament used for? An ornament is something which adds value to one's looks. Ornamented or decorated. Now, why is he saying ornamented? What is the relevance of that to your sadhana? It's very interesting. Whenever you do any action, you should do it in a very interesting, colorful way, like how you ornament something. You should do it to perfection, to your satisfaction. See, 100% perfection is never possible externally, but your striving for that level of perfection should always be there. Then the best will come out from you. There is a tendency of people to do things in a bland way. There is no life, there is no color, there is no decoration, there is no ornamentation. I am using this figuratively. So whenever you do something, put your heart and soul into that. Give your best. It doesn't matter whether others recognize your efforts or not. You should do things to your satisfaction. See, supposing, let's say, you're sending a mail to someone. Now, one thing is to write whatever you want to type, you've typed whatever you want to send. The other thing is just spend a few more minutes in seeing whether the mail has been organized visually in a nice way, the correct level of spacing, all those things are there. It just takes a few minutes. That is the ornamentation part. And then when you send it, that is a very powerful habit which you are building. This is only an example I am giving of the mail. I am giving an example which you can easily relate to. Now you can take that principle and you should start applying it in all the areas of your life. Everything which you're doing, do it really well, Bring the best quality in that. When the Yoga Sankirtan materials are created, this principle is used to a great extent. Till that fine level of satisfaction comes, I never approve. I never say it is ready for release. And the difference between the final version and the initial version will be very subtle. See, supposing there are 10 versions. In every version there will be a certain improvements. You may not even notice it at a glance, but if you go deep into it, you will be able to notice it. Supposing, let's say we compromise and say in the second version itself it's okay. Now who is going to know? Nobody is there to question. Nobody will even see that. But it is not for others' appreciation that we should do something. If we take it up, it is divine work. This is the symbolic meaning of decorating idols of God. There is an ancient practice having an idol as a symbol of that infinite. The idol per se is not important, but what it means to you is so important. Let us say you have an idol of Vishnu or you have an idol of Shiva. Every day you are worshipping that. Now that idol of Vishnu or idol of Shiva is a representation of that infinite for you. You should not see it as a mere idol. Then there is no use. Oh, this is a beautiful stone carving. Some people say that. Then that is not a spiritual experience. That should symbolize what your highest goal is. And then, they have this practice of decorating it on a daily basis. Why is that required? Some people ask, isn't God there even in a non-decorated idol? The answer is yes. That way God is there in everything. What is the difference between a stone on the road and a beautifully carved idol? If you have that perception, both are equal only. Same God is present in this idol, it's also present in that stone. But to start with, the mind is not at that level to see God everywhere. So that is why these practices were done by certain people, and if you do it in the right way, it will help you. So this very exercise of decorating, washing the idol, decorating and all that, that is not it is not a requirement for God. It is a practice or a sadhana given to absorb this quality of srishta into your mind. That beautification, that decoration, whatever it is that you're doing it in a very divine way. You're doing it in a perfect way. That efforts is what you're putting. In order to practice that quality, they kept it as a part of the ritual. Now, the real symbolic meaning, the real meaning has got lost. And what people are thinking now is that I know many people who decorate the idols out of fear. There was one lady who told me that every day, I keep flowers, I decorate my Krishna. She had an idol of Krishna. If I don't do one day, I get so afraid. In case Krishna gets angry, what will happen? It means the devotion has not matured. The depth of spirituality has not been understood. None of the rituals are required for God. See, godliness is a state of the infinite. All the practices are meant to purify one's mind. Remember that. So they said, take care of whatever it is that you're doing. That is the principle there. Ornamentation, very beautiful dimension. So it is an essential aspect of yajna, of karma yoga. Whatever it is that you do, put your heart and soul into it and do it to the best of your ability. How do we practice it right now? Right now also we can practice it. From the speaker's point of view, he should try to see what is his role to present this wisdom, the yogic approach. Now he should put his heart and soul into this presentation. From a listener's point of view, what should you do? You should put your heart and soul in absorbing this. Then you are practicing srishta. And just imagine, a person starts practicing this in every area of life, there will be a tremendous growth in each and every aspect. And along with that, that person's personality will also grow. That is what we call as self-development, which culminates into self-realization. This is the path of spiritual development. So many people claim that I am a great sadhak, I do sadhana every day, but they do things in a very casual way. They do things without that sanctity. The idea of asking you to keep your puja room very clean, very decorative, is to absorb that principle. So that your mind expands, the whole world should become a temple for you. Wherever you are, you should make it your temple. Whatever it is that you're doing, that should become a worship for you. If you're sitting in the office and working, if you bring this bhavana of srishta, ornamentation, whatever action you're doing will become so powerful. You can achieve your goal very easily. Materialization becomes very fast for such a person. For a person who does not go into the specifics and does things in a generalized way, that person has not yet learnt that subtle spiritual quality. See, the opposite of this is being generalized, not getting into the specifics. That shows grossness. So, absorb this dimension of srishta and practice this along with the various other steps. Step 1, ascertaining. Step 2, being determined. Step 3 is connected, joined, emotionally being connected. Step 4 is look for abundance. Step 5 is ornamentation. Do everything sincerely. Put your heart and soul into your efforts, not for others to recognize it, but for your own satisfaction. Sometimes, people, what they do is when others are looking, they work. When the boss is not looking, they'll not work. See, all that will not work in the long run. You can fool others, but you cannot fool the law of karma. The law of karma is impartial. It gives you exactly what you deserve. Some students do this, when their parents are watching, they'll study. When nobody is watching, they'll do something else. According to that, results will come. You are given in your hands the fruits of your own efforts only. Remember this. So this is another powerful dimension. One more dimension of srishta. Srishta means abandoning. Now, very interesting. After all this, that is, he says, you should ascertain, you should know what you want, you should be determined, you should get emotionally connected, look for abundance, do it as perfectly as possible. All this is told, and then finally he says, abandon, be detached. You should learn to let go, he says. Whenever you're attached mentally to something, you will not get it. There is a difference between emotional connection and being attached. Attachment means possessiveness, obsession. When you are obsessed about something, you will not get it, and even if you get it, you will not be able to enjoy it. So it is as good as not getting it only. So you should function so well in life, but be 100% detached. That is true Karma Yoga. Doing everything which you ought to do in life as if that is the most important thing to you, but then practicing full detachment, abandoning is this. Because if you're going to cling on to the fruits, if you're going to cling on to your goal in a negative way, which is what is meant by attachment, then that will cause a lot of anxiety and fear in you. That will start giving rise to various negative emotions, fear, anxiety. You will not be sure whether it can be achieved or not. So this is a very powerful dimension. After giving everything, that's why finally I am covering that, abandoning. Play your roles in life to the best of your ability and then get out. This is the practice of Karma Yoga. Even right now, as long as this session is there, I should focus on giving this wisdom to the best of my ability. That is the first aspect of Karma Yoga. But let's say after the session is over, I'm sending mails to all of you. Have you all understood? Have you all been practicing? Have you been doing this? That anxiety. Then that is no longer Karma Yoga. It becomes attachment. There, one should practice detachment, abandoning. So how long should you abandon? Abandoning means leaving it, letting go. How long should you practice that? That's where the next dimension also comes. These two dimensions go together. One more dimension of Srishta. Srishta means let loose. You should practice it till it completely leaves you. Means you should not be dependent on that for your happiness. See, what is attachment essentially? What is it? For example, let's take a relationship. You're relating to your child, okay? If you relate to the child so that you can be happy, then that is called attachment. If you relate to the child in a totally unselfish way and try to make the child happy, then that is called love. And here I am giving the example of a child. This is how it is with everything. So when you acquire wealth, some people say, I want to become rich. It's a craving. They are feeling so unhappy and low. It's a complex. With that complex, they say, I want to become rich. That will only give rise to attachment. So who is the person who can practice detachment, who can get to that stage? Abandoning is one aspect, let loose. Let loose means that thing goes away from you. That's what it means. Who is the person who can practice that? One who is totally happy. So the sadhana makes you so happy from within. That is on one hand. On the other hand, it gives you that power to create whatever you want. 100% worldly life, 100% spiritual life. Krishna himself demonstrated that. See, he takes so much of pains to give this wisdom to Arjuna. What is Krishna gaining from all this? Nothing. It's a selfless action. But then, towards the end, he says, Yatha ichchasi tata kuru. I have said all that I have to say. Now, Yatha ichchasi tata kuru. Whatever you think is right, you do. That is the detachment. So, the very word Prajapatihi means one who is above the creation. When you are below the creation, you cannot create. Only when you rise above the creation, you get that ability to create. What does it mean by being above creation? Not depending on that object for your happiness. As long as you think, I can be happy only if I get that, you will never get that. And even if you get that, you will not be able to enjoy it. It will only cause further and further fear and insecurity within you. That's why the final two dimensions, abandoning and let loose, those two dimensions are so important. So whenever you want to manifest a goal, first of all, become very clear, be very determined, get emotionally connected. There should be life in what you're wanting, not just in a dry way, saying something. And, stretch yourself, look for abundance. And then put your heart and soul into each and every action of yours. Give your best. And after all that, let go. An arrow will reach its target only if you leave it. Isn't it? Supposing you take a bow and the arrow is there. You place the arrow. You go on pulling it. Without pulling, the arrow will never hit the target. So pulling is the effort. But if you just go on pulling, you're refusing to let it go, then it will not hit the target. That's why the first few dimensions which were given to you, they are all related to pulling, your efforts. The final two dimensions which have been given is that process of letting go. That differentiates a yogi from others. A yogi does everything so passionately, with so much of interest, with so much of excitement and quotes. But he also has this complete detachment. He never gets into a state of, oh, I missed this, I missed that. Never lives in the past. That was the life of Lord Krishna. He demonstrated it practically. But all the time, your mind is so attached to something or other, and you're unable to let go of that. So we'll stop with that here. I'll cover a little more of this in the next session. You first think about whatever was said. These are all very, very powerful principles. You need to do the manana, reflection. And your sadhana, daily sadhana of Yoga Sankirtan will help you to create that spiritual energy and change your energy pattern. In the next session, we will go into a little more depth of this, and then, of course, the rest of the verse, and then we will continue further also. It's not the length which is covered that matters, but the depth. How much are you really absorbing all this? So my request to you is that see this how many ever times you want. Think about these very, very important points. See, these steps which have been given to you of Srishta, if you start practicing them in your life, step 1, step 2, step 3, you will find amazing results. Okay, so now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently Close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my emotions, beyond my thoughts, lies my essential higher self. My higher self is infinite. I have the power to create my life. I have the power to manifest my goals. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So in the last few sessions and in today's session, many dimensions of this principle of Srishta has been given to you. Now these are all golden principles. You can use them to succeed in any area of your life. As I told you, stop complaining about circumstances, about others, and focus on creating your life. A sadhak is one who creates. That's so important. And keep doing your sadhana every day. Next month, we are going to have the intense meditation on the Guru Purnima day. So already I've started preparing you for that, and a lot of healing also is being given. So if you also do your sadhana, you will receive maximum. And the Guru Purnima meditation will also act as a preparation for the next Yoga Sankirtan, which is going to come in the near future. The work is going on. It's very, very powerful. The focus in the next Yoga Sankirtan material is to make you powerful sadhaks, to increase that inner power, So very quickly that process is happening. Everything happens for a good purpose only. So you're also fortunate that it's happening so fast. So a lot of blessings are to be received this year. And that will pave way for more blessings in the coming years. This is how we experience life when we bring in that energy of gratitude. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.